All right, we're back with another build. This is something a little different. This time we have a CRF110 that I got from Xtreme Powersports. T-Bolt USA has stepped up big to get this build going. We have other people involved like a Cherubies, SKDA, Gut seat covers, Dunlop. Man, I don't know, a lot of people are involved on this build. Moto Cartel sending over a bunch of parts, DHM. We're still waiting on quite a few parts, but we're gonna get this thing going. So let's check out what we got so far from T-Bolt. T-Bolt's come through, and we're gonna get a new set of suspension on this thing. There's my Gut seat cover, just all red, no ribs, so not so bad. ODI grips. We got like sprocket guards and bump start things, like a bunch of cool little parts, man. And a twin air filter that I've already oiled. A set of BBR, Carson Brown bend that I threw a Renthal bar pad on. Red cover there, chain guide. Sponsored by DID, but T-Bolt sent me this over, or sent over this Renthal chain, so we're gonna run that. We also have a front sprocket, which is still the same 13, and then we have a 39 rear tooth from Vortex. This is all from T-Bolt, by the way, except for seat cover and my plastic here from a Cherubies. They sent over these custom full built, already pre-built wheels, which is super sweet. I was able to throw in a set of Motion Pro tubes with some Dunlop MX-34s stuck on those things. Thank you, Dunlop, for that. So yeah, this is the pit bike we got so far. It's 2024, completely bone stock. Haven't done anything to it yet. That's actually a lie. I put a little check valve in there, but other than that, bone stock. Sorry for that little ding in there. That's my chain, but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and throw some of these parts on now. I can't do a lot, but we'll get what we can. We'll get what we can done for now. If you guys checked out my last build on the Honda CRF450 Works Edition, I don't know where I'll add that in the description or something, but check that out. That's a cool build as well. But no, super pumped on this, excited to build it. This is more or less my wife's pit bike. She's always wanted a pit bike. We had one before, got rid of it just because we needed the money at the time, and I was able to go snag one now, and we're gonna do a cool little build for it, and yeah, we'll get this thing dialed in. So for today, all I can really do is I'm gonna throw a skid plate on, the seat cover. That's kind of all I can do because I'm waiting on axles and a few other things that kind of are a big part, like my triple clamp, so I really can't do much to the front end. So looks like skid plate, seat cover, and then as well as I'll be able to put the filter in and also the filter cage. So we'll do that now. Oh, I guess we can do the gas cap as well. So we'll do that now. Maybe some foot pegs. I don't know. We'll see where we're at. We're not changing the bracket or anything because we're not going to go launch this bike off anything. We're going to keep it pretty grounded. All right, so it's been like 3.5 weeks since I filmed anything on the pit bike build. Things were kind of coming like one thing per day, and then it was a break for a little bit. And I really didn't want to like film certain things like here and there. So I kind of just didn't really film anything. I did end up finishing the pit bike just because I was just doing like one thing a day. I didn't really want to pull the camera and everything out for it, like I said. It's finished. I'm stoked on it. It's something pretty cool. I've done a pit bike build before, but this one I think to me is a little bit cooler because I tried to do like a replica of my race bike from this year. As a lot of people know, I am shutting down the JSR Motorsports program, so I wanted to build something that kind of, I have something to remember the little program. So yeah, let's check this thing out. And also, before we really get into it, I need to give a massive shout out to T-Bolt USA for really supplying like 90% of these parts. Moto Cartel for like stepping up and hooking me up with some more stuff, some triple clamps and stuff like that. And then also DHM stepped up big and remapped my ECU on this thing, which is like kind of mind-boggling to me to remap an ECU on a pit bike, but we do have an exhaust system on this thing and also a different air intake boot. So yeah, it's virtually a stock pit bike, but there are a few little things that required a mapping change. So yeah, we got an ECU map for a pit bike. Kind of seems crazy to me, but yeah, big shout out to DHM, Xtreme Powersports on helping me out to get this pit bike, Moto Cartel, and T-Bolt USA. Big shout out to those guys. And also SKDA and all them for stepping up, and Dunlop and Yoshimura, Twin Air, everyone that really stepped up to kind of help me out with this thing. So let's get into this thing. We'll start from the top here. We have the ASV adjustable front brake. which is pretty cool. It's yeah, non-breakable or whatever you want to call it. Adjust the length here and also the tension on the front brake there. We have the ODI throttle tube and also their lock-on grips here, which I think are pretty sweet because it makes it more of like a bigger grip and not like the little small grips that come on the bike. We're running some obviously longer throttle cables and the longer front brake cable. I got BBR bars on here. I think it's the Carson Brown bar. I put a Renthal bar pad on it because that's a sponsor of mine from this season. Mounted onto a set of mini Moto Cartel triple clamps. They also supplied the titanium bolts for that, which is pretty sweet. I think this bike has more titanium in it than my actual race bike, but that's pretty sweet. So also all the plastic on this bike is all set up by a Chairbeast. Mounted onto the Chairbeast plastic is the SKDA graphics that are a replica of that bike, actually, the race bike from this year. Then we got the T-Bolt USA forks mounted onto the T-Bolt USA complete set of wheels. So front and rear wheels are a complete set. That's why they're just a stock color hub. Didn't do anything special with it just because this is a complete set you can get off of T-Bolt USA for honestly a very reasonable price. So if you want a black rim, you don't want to lace the wheels and everything, check out their complete set. It's super nice, super durable, high quality, which is awesome. Also got MX34 front and rear mounted onto the T-Bolt USA complete set of wheels. And also holding the wheels onto the forks and obviously the swing arm is DHM's titanium axles, which is pretty sweet. So it looks really cool, super nice. I mean, I think this bike literally has more titanium than any of my big bikes I've ever had. But yeah, so DHM also supplied, I want to say that these are engine mount bolts. I don't really know what else you'd call it. I mean, it's got to be engine mount. So yeah, they supplied some titanium bolts for that as well. I am actually not running a titanium bolt on the bottom, but I am running the nut on there. I run a BBR chain guide roller. That's a complete set. So unable to run the tie on the bottom, but I do have it on the tops. Also, T-Bolt USA hooking it up with the oil fill. I almost call it an oil filter, but the oil fill cap. Mini Moto Cartel with the kickstart delete. And then we also have the T-Bolt USA brake pedal and also the Footpegs. I didn't do a heavier duty foot peg mount as I simply don't plan on doing any big jumps or anything with this thing. Just something to have to cruise around on, let my wife ride around. But we wanted obviously a bigger foot peg, so this is all from T-Bolt USA except for Mini Moto Cartel's kickstart delete. And of course, you cannot have a Honda without a Yoshimura exhaust system. The thing looks just like my RS12s. So awesome. You can also see the T-Bolt USA shock here, which is pretty sweet. It's a little bit heavier duty than the stock one. A little taller as well. And you also set the sag and everything on it, which is pretty sweet. Also from T-Bolt is the rear brake adjuster nut, which is pretty cool. It's red, so it's a little bit nicer. Looks nicer, and also a little bit easier to adjust, and yeah, super nice to have that thing on there. Also have from T-Bolt USA the chain adjusters, which is pretty sweet. Those look really nice. And as you guys can see, well, normally I have you can see it down there, I have a standard size Guts seat down there with a seat cover and everything like that, but I wanted to get a taller seat, so I actually purchased this off of T-Bolt. A little bit taller seat, all red to match the graphics, which came with white ribs on top. I think the seat's a little bit lighter than stock too, which is super nice. But yeah, like having the taller seat for being 6 foot tall, so that's super nice, and it matches up really good with the red billet gas cap that I also got off T-Bolt. On this side from the skid plate, it's a BBR skid plate that I got off T-Bolt, as well as their shifter. It's a little bit nicer, a little bit longer. And then also the, I believe, so this is a little bit more confusing for me, but this thing right here is so you can start it when it's in like 2nd and 3rd gear, and it doesn't have to be in neutral. Super nice to have that, so you don't always have to shift all the way down. And also the chain guide, that's another thing from T-Bolt, and also their billet, what would you call this thing, like the stator, ignition, whatever, but their plugs look super nice. Yeah, and then I also put a Git hour meter on this thing, just to keep track of what we got. As you can tell, T-Bolt USA. But just to keep track of how many hours are on this thing, and just so I know. It's a dirt bike thing. And then you can see up in there, we have the mini Moto Cartel different intake boot there. Super easy to install. Just cut the stock air boot there. You can kind of see where I cut it up in there. Also siliconed it a little bit just to keep anything from coming in there, but gives a little bit more horsepower. And with that, DHM was actually able to set up my ECU to match my exhaust and that air intake boot. So the pit bike's a little bit faster than stock, even though it is a stock engine. And also the chain is actually, it's a Renthal chain. I know I have a DID sticker on there, but it's a Renthal chain that I got off T-Bolt, as well as the front sprocket. And the rear sprocket is actually from Mini Moto Cartel. It is a 40 tooth, so it's a little bit bigger, a little bit more power off the bottom. The nuts and for the rear sprocket I also received from Mini Moto Cartel. And then also the BBR chain guide down here I got from T-Bolt. So pretty cool to have a little bit nicer chain on here, a little bit stronger than stock. This is what I was trying to say on the other side. I am running a roller on the bottom here. That does not come stock on the pit bike, but I think it looks better. It's a little bit nicer and also a little bit safer. I did have to trim up this guard. I know a lot of people don't run this guard, but for safety, I don't know. If I can eliminate anything from possibly happening, I'm going to. So I put that guard back on. So I had to cut it a little bit to run that roller. I also have the shift shaft. I don't know really what you call that thing, like a mount, just to keep it from bending, from Mini Moto Cartel as well. And inside I am running a screenless system that I was able to mount inside, so there's no screen behind the air filter. And then I also am running a twin air filter. As you can see, I am sweating right now. I'm in Florida. It's 1 o'clock, it's about 95 degrees and maybe 110 inside this garage right now. But yeah, that's the pit bike we were able to build up. I'm gonna do some more content on it throughout the summer. More or less my wife's pit bike, as I have, as you guys can see, 2 big bikes, and that's my job. So pit bike's more for her to be able to cruise around, but I'll also be riding it because you know me. But one question I have for you guys, I have some gaskets because I was planning on getting this front cover and then also the other side of this Cerakoted like black or something. But I was kind of thinking about leaving it stock. And stock, I just mean by like not coating it, just because it kind of matches the hubs a little bit, and also the bottom triple clamp. Leave a comment if you guys think I should or if I shouldn't. I have the gaskets to do it. I'm just kind of, I don't want to do all this and then just have like stock color hubs. I think that kind of defeats the purpose a little bit. But yeah, I think this thing turned out pretty cool. I'm excited to ride it. It hasn't touched dirt yet. So yeah, we'll have to check back and maybe we'll do some riding on this thing. But again, massive thank you to T-Bolt USA. Check them out. Big help on building this thing. They're honestly the whole reason I even did it. And then Mini Moto Cartel has been behind me for 2 years now, and I've never had a pit bike during their time of sponsorship for the actual like pro Supercross racing. So I was super excited to be able to build something and then have some parts from them. And then also DHM. Man, never even really knew of these guys until Mini Moto Cartel hooked me up with them, with tuning the ECU, the titanium bolts, the titanium axles. Super awesome of them to help me out on that. But yeah, then we got, you know, obviously get on the hour meter and so many cool little things on this thing. So just want to say thank you guys to thank you to all of them for doing this. I'm sorry I'm stuttering. It's super hot in here. And yeah, super thankful to do this build, and let's go ride this thing, huh? See you guys soon.